how the caste supremacist ideology made its way into the US and the struggle for an anti-caste future. Written evidence for the strictly hierarchical and oppressive nature of the caste system has appeared since approximately 200 BC. Discriminatory practices have been illegal and sanctioned by prevailing power that be for most of the last 2,000 years. 200 BC through 200 AD, Manu Smriti codifies the caste hierarchy. Intercaste marriages are deemed socially unacceptable. By the 4th century AD, the Mahabharata was completed. Gross injustices committed towards the lower caste character by its revered main characters are presented in shocking detail, to serve as warning for those who don't stay in their lane. These are many stories about denying educational opportunity and destroying careers for those from the lower caste who dare to dream. Centuries passed. Brahmins consolidated power and privilege across every domain. Early 18th century, British and Christian missionaries opened public schools in India. Even here, only Brahmins enjoy administration. Classist British officers and the casteist Brahmins were natural allies in the oppression of the lower caste classes in India. In 1830, 3 Dalit students disguised themselves as Brahmins by wearing the so-called sacred thread, which is a caste marker for Brahmins to this day, and successfully gained entry into the school meant for high caste Hindus in Madras. 100 Brahmist students protested this when the Dalit students were outed. The headmaster, Mr. Anderson, refused to dismiss the Dalit students and exhorted the Brahmins to study with them. Brahmins monopolized the British India administration, and their dominance continued in independent India too. June 1st, 1955. Article 17, Indian Constitution. Untouchability is abolished, and its practice in any form is forbidden. The enforcement of any disability arising of untouchability shall be an offense punishable in accordance with law. But the so-called caste continued to monopolize education in general and technical education in particular. After October 3rd, 1965, when the Immigration and Nationality Act officially committed the United States for the first time in accepting immigrants of all nationalities on a roughly equal basis, a wave of upper caste Indians made their way to the USA. They quickly established dominance over the cultural narrative about Indians from their extremely privileged and limited vantage point, completely erasing the vast majority of the subcontinent's cultural landscape. Meanwhile, back in India, non-Brahmins and Dalits started making steady progress in education through affirmative action. It was only in the late 90s and early 2000s when they started being able to migrate to the US in considerable numbers. By that time, Brahmins controlled all Indian immigrant social and cultural institutions in the USA. Oppression, exclusion, discrimination started rearing its ugly head when established dominant casteist narrative met the incoming wave of people from the oppressed caste. In 2008, a caste-based murder was reported by the national media. But most of caste exclusion and discrimination stayed under the radar. Why? 1. Power dynamics. The dominant caste had reached hiring and firing positions. They got here earlier. They were here in much larger numbers. 2. Model minority myth. Portraying themselves, their culture, as superior and worthy, the dominant caste narrative portrayed casteist practices as being religious and or cultural. This masked the discriminatory nature of these behaviors to non-Indians who remained unaware about caste and its ugly manifestations. Late 1990 onwards, the oppressed start organizations. Many organizations fighting for equality were born. Ambedkar Association of North America, Ambedkar International Center, Ambedkar International Mission, Ambedkar King Study Circle, Periyar Ambedkar Study Circle, etc. June 2020, Cisco's caste discrimination case opened floodgates of discussion around caste. Cisco HR claimed that caste discrimination is not unlawful. Both plaintiff and defendant from IIT Bombay. Plaintiff alleged that the defendant outed his caste at work. In 2021 and 2022, NAACP, Cisco Systems, Apple, California State University System, California Democratic Party, and other added caste in their policy document and code of conduct. Feb 2023, Seattle becomes the first U.S. city to ban caste-based discrimination. March 2023, California Senate Bill 403 introduced to ban caste-based discrimination in California. August 7th, 2023, American Bar Association urges the U.S. lawmakers towards the adoption of laws, policies to prohibit discrimination on the basis of the caste system.
If you were born a high caste Brahmin, you stay that way for life, and you get the advantages of it for life. If you are born a Dalit, lower than the lowest class, you remain in that class for life, and you suffer discrimination in housing, in employment, in various other areas. A study that was taken in 2018.
Come be a part of the movement to build caste-free society. Join us on August 19th.